Hey there and welcome back to Rimworld. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of our Rimworld Anomaly Sea Ice Challenge with the transhumanist paragons of Pandroth. Last time we left off after experiencing a blood rain that not only sent Vulek into a frenzy but also brought us the 14-year-old Ben, a timeless one capable of releasing dead life dust once per day. In addition, we also had Maniac and Lauren make a baby, the transhumanist way of course, so our latest offspring is currently coming together in a growth vat. Finally, we turned a prisoner into Ghoul Kelly, and then we ended the last episode with another void provocation ritual from Elpis. The result of that, a mysterious obelisk crashing onto the sea ice. Humming with putrid psychic energy that gradually intensifies, it is not yet clear what this twisted obelisk actually does. It also does not unlock any dark study projects, so I suppose only time will tell. Nazim's first research attempt at least remains inconclusive. Our latest prisoner then goes berserk. Seems like he's not a fan of being used in psychic rituals, but our trio of ghouls is quick on the scene to pacify him. Now joined by Ghoul Kelly, the beatdown is actually so severe that Elpis needs to use Coagulate to rescue him, but I would say that's resources well spent, as you will see later. We are also constructing some transport pods now, and then launch our next mining expedition. The parents-to-be, Lauren and Maniac, will go on this one, together with some food and materials for the return trip. Their destination is this plasteel mining site we found with the long-range mineral scanner, and as they land we can see that it is only a small lump of the stuff, but that should still yield us a few hundred units. At least digging it out should be a relatively quick process, even if plasteel takes forever to mine. Back home, our poor prisoner has suffered an infection from his ghoul bruises, so Elpis returns to take care of that, and in the evening another lifter bot is ready to go. We'll name this one Starburst without the A, after the patron supporter of the same name. As we then briefly check in with Tunneler Mulch Butler deep inside the pit gate, we are suddenly informed that we can reform our ideology once more, as Ellie has successfully converted our beaten-up prisoner and thus has earned us the last ideology development point. And let's quickly talk about this, even though we won't make a decision here today. I am not entirely sure what to go with next. Ritualist here we have somewhat already integrated with the Exalted Rituals precept, so I'd say that's not really necessary anymore. We could go with the other new meme from Anomaly, Inhuman, which thematically could actually fit quite well with a focus on also transcending the human shackles, although the effects of inhumanization are severe and include the loss of several skills as well as all social relations for our pawns. Perhaps that's a bit much. Another alternative could be High Life. Coming from a transhumanist point of view, further enhancing our pawn's abilities through drugs might be something to strive for, but let me know what catches your eye here and how you think we should proceed. Our new convertee then suffering through a second infection just as we get ready to enslave them, a process that colony leader Elpis himself finishes successfully on the next morning. And so we are now joined by Zarmal, another name from the patron naming rights tier, so if naming someone in one of my series is of interest to you, then feel free to check that out. Zarmal will primarily be used as a crafter and repairman. We might give him some suitable genes soon as well, but for now he'll grab a warmer outfit and then start chopping up all of those marble blocks we've been extracting from the pit gate. Lauren and Maniac, meanwhile, have finished mining out the plasteel deposit, so let's send them back home. Up first is Maniac with all the plasteel the pod can carry, and then Lauren follows suit shortly after with the rest. In total, we have now gained just about 500 plasteel, more than enough I'd say to invest some of it into a psychofluid pump for Elpis. After all, we are trying to reach new heights with him as a psycaster, and this device will boost his psychic sensitivity by 25% after each death rest. Also, we can stack up to 4 of them for a nice 100% increase. A little later then, we can see that power is becoming a small issue. Seems like we have just a few too many devices hooked up to the grid right now. But what we also have is a nice selection of entities in captivity, producing enough bioferrite to construct a second generator. In the evening, Nazim and Vulek start a fight that thankfully does not end with anyone going down, but it leaves Nazim slightly more injured, despite him being the one with the elbow blade. And so, with Nazim still recovering, the task of suppressing the twisted obelisk then also falls to Vulek. We have so far neglected this a bit, partially also because for some reason this task actually falls under wardening, when, at least in my opinion, it would fit better under the dark study task, as your anomaly researchers may not have the adequate social skill that would otherwise make you assign them to wardening prisoners. Either way, Vulek also learns a bit more about the obelisk. It seems to interact with organic creatures at a distance, although what that means exactly still remains a mystery. Again, I suppose only time and more study will tell. Until then, we send Elpis to death rest. After all, that has served him well the last time we had a mysterious entity around, and so in 4 days he gains the benefits of his new psychofluid pump. And just as our colony leader gets his beauty sleep in, the pit gate starts to rumble. Yes, leaving it open for so long does pose a bit of a risk, in this case the emergence of a new horde of fleshbeasts. And no, you are not able to intercept these from the inside, they will simply appear on the surface, out of nowhere essentially. And I suspect they will be quite numerous, so let us counter them by summoning yet another Diabolus, or in this case, since we have done this so many times, it's actually 2 now, as the strength of the mechs you call in steadily increases with each summon. We are then also once again sending Vulek out to lure the fleshbeasts to the mech's landing spot, while Tunneler Mulch Butler emerges from the pit gate, just as the fleshbeasts do too. However, this was very much intended. Mulch Butler can take a tremendous amount of damage, and this will slow our enemies down a bit and give the mechs some more time to arrive. And as you can see, we will probably need their help if we want to win this. Now, with Mulch Butler down, the flesh beasts get moving. We have assembled a small strike force here just to break up some of the larger beasts, as the mechs will probably struggle at that simply because of their lack of numbers. Make no mistake about it though, this will not be a lengthy firefight. We just take a few potshots here and then retreat, while Vulek leads the flesh beasts away from the base. Lifterbot Cruxel will most likely also become another casualty in their path, but on the bright side that buys us a few more seconds. And there we go, the mechs have arrived, unfortunately though in one of the worst possible spots, directly on the other side of the base, in the far corner of the map. Still, no way around it, let's start hopping over there. Good thing that Vulek is full of hemogen, or at least he was. Eventually then, he has most of the flesh beasts locked onto him, and can now lead them all in a neat line towards their doom, although looking at the sheer size of this group, I actually feel like the mechs might be on the losing end here. Their only real weapon are the 2 Diaboli, the rest is probably not going to withstand the onslaught for too long. And as you can see, Vulek then sacrificing his own skin to make sure the 2 foes actually engage each other, but that seems to be working, so let's get him into safety and watch the carnage unfold. And this is what I meant earlier with the mech's inability to deal with these flesh beasts. Their individual attacks may be very powerful, but they just don't have enough of them to deal with the fact that killing a flesh beast often only results in several more appearing. To combat that, you'd need frequent attacks blasting a wide area, stuff like miniguns, flamethrowers and the like, so the fight here actually ends up being even more lopsided than I had expected. The flesh beasts absolutely tear the mechs to shreds, leaving us with the daunting task of cleaning up the remains, which in this case are not actually that much weaker than the original strike force. One after another, the 2 Diaboli then go down, standing no chance whatsoever, and so the flesh beasts are now coming for us. And well, to be perfectly honest, I really don't like our chances here. So we have equipped Ben, our latest acquisition, with the Doomsday rocket launcher, that one we found at the pit gate. We are also dropping some flares here, but that does not really get us all that far. So I suppose it's time for the panic button. And as you can see, even that is only mildly effective against fleshbeasts, because the trouble is not actually killing them. Most of them are just incredibly weak. The trouble is that killing them will, at least in the case of the tri-spikes, simply produce more. So we'll definitely need to fleshbeast proof our defenses a bit more for future attacks like this. For this one though, we're managing, although Maniac is taking some good damage here, but in the end the horde is defeated and everyone survives. We even managed to capture 2 tough spikes, although only one of them will be placed in a temperature that it can actually survive. The other one will be harvested for research and bioferrite only once and then be left to die. Somewhat unexpectedly then, we are notified that Lifterbot Rico has died. That's another problem with tri-spikes that are bleeding out. When they die, they spawn 3 fresh finger spikes, and sadly a single lifter is no match for that. However, before they do more damage, our ghoul squad moves out to take them down, while we take care of repairs and haul plenty of dead mechanoids back home for disassembly. We also start laying down the first marble tiles. Zarmal has been nice and busy during all of this, although his situation takes a turn for the worse as he now throws a tantrum and goes to destroy our advanced components. Now that is probably one of the most valuable stacks of items we currently have, so once again the ghouls are quick on his heels to stop him. And they do, although his body is an absolute mess at this point. Now, we also had a combat supplier trade ship pass by, so let's quickly make contact with them. Ellie also has a trade inspiration, and we're using that, perhaps somewhat ineffectively here, to just sell a few old pieces of gear in exchange for the unattractive gene pack, a nice small negative modifier to slap onto someone to balance out the positives we actually want. Later that day, Randy then sends some thrumbos our way, and at least against 4 of them we have sufficient firepower to grab a nice haul of meat and thrumbo fur. And in the middle of the night then it's time, Lauren and Maniac's baby is born from the growth vat. It is a boy who will now go by the name of Roman after Patreon supporter Roman Tatal. Now, as a newborn, Roman here does not yet have the learning need. He also does not have any skills or traits yet, so for the most part he just needs sleep and food. And well, even now that he's born, the growth vat can supply both of those too, much more convenient for our 2 parents, although first of all, Maniac will bestow the gift of being a viscalaire onto Roman, shaping his baby boy in his image. Afterwards, the now blue-skinned baby goes back into the growth vat, where he will now remain until he's 3 years old, which inside of the growth vat will only take about a week or so. By the way, food consumption is also halved now compared to when the embryo was inside, so we can probably switch 1 to 2 hydroponics basins back off of rice and onto something else. The dawn of a new day then brings with it the construction of 2 new transport pods, as we are once again sending out our lovely couple, Lauren and Maniac. Their parental duties currently extend only to shoving food into the growth vat, a task that anyone else can also take care of, so the 2 of them go on another mining trip, this time for components. And yes, I know that we also have Tunneler Mulch Butler available for this, but sending the mech's 210 kg frame out via drop pod is not all that efficient, at least as long as steel remains a somewhat scarce resource. The component pile then quite a bit larger than the plasteel one, but components are also faster to mine. We should probably also keep an eye on the polar bear here, but for now the couple can get to work. On the following morning, Volek fires up the bioferrite shaper to fabricate an incinerator, a flamethrower that should boost our ability to fight flesh beasts quite a bit. He does take a break from making it soon after though, for no lesser reason than to celebrate his marriage to Ellie. Definitely some interesting timing on this one, waiting until the other couple is away from home and Elpis is also still death resting, so the celebration is actually a rather small affair, only attended by Nightshade, Nazim and Ben. With that, Ellie and Volek also tie the knot ahead of Maniac and Lauren, perhaps a sign that they feel like it should have been their turn to have a baby first. I promise we'll get to that very soon. In the meantime, Lifter Rico is successfully resurrected, more marble flooring is put into place, and we are informed that hostile mechanoids will attack our mining operation in 10 days. Looking at how much progress Maniac and Lauren have made though, they should be long gone by then. Nazim also keeps working to learn more about the twisted obelisk, although for now without success. Meanwhile, we have a caravan stop by, and immediately leave again due to the cold. Time for Volek to vault across the ice and intercept them before they can leave, as we can actually sell them a fair amount of stuff here, mostly old clothing but also some chem fuel. In exchange, we grab our first batch of Nutriamine so that we can finally start making medicine. At the mining site, meanwhile, Maniac and Lauren are packing up. Once again, Maniac is the first to return home, with Lauren following shortly after. In total, the two have gathered over 130 components. Elpis also awakens from his death rest, his psychic sensitivity now boosted a bit, so Volek can now begin his, making sure that we always have one sanguiphage available should we need some emergency long jumping or coagulating. Finally, Nazim also unlocks bionic replacements, so I would say our transhumanist journey is about to really get going. On that note, we'll research specialized limbs next, mostly for that drill arm. I am hoping that we might be able to acquire another pawn soon who can take over the deep drill, and who we can also send out on these mining operations. For today though, I think we have reached a good point to make the cut. Our colony has gained 2 new members in Zarmal and Roman, and that might be far from the end of it. For today though, this is the end of the episode, so as always I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course also go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.